Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here at Obsessed Garage. Matt just spent about a week and a half on our new G80. So ceramic coating it, going through the car, and I really wanted to get Matt's opinion on what he actually thinks about the G80. You know, because he's had E92, now he has E36, he's looking to get E46. So Matt and I seem to have the same opinions on the cars once we spent some time on them. So let's head on in and take a look at the car and all the work Matt's been doing and get his opinion on the G80.
All right, Sean, this is the last my own car detail I'm ever gonna do. He said, hey, I got an idea, which everybody always tells me that idea. He said, hey, I got this car, do you want to detail it? And I said, yes. And the only reason I said yes, well, one, because Sean's my friend, but mainly I wanted to spend some time with the car, you know, and the best way I know how to spend time with the car is detailing it. So here's what we did. So the car came in, it was, you know, pretty, I didn't analyze the paint or take too much of a detailed look at it. I knew I would still decon it. So it came in pretty clean. I probably didn't need to auto scrub it, but I took it outside there in a live stream and I deconned the surface, so which means that I used a soap to hopefully wash off whatever wax or anything. I doubt the dealer put anything on it. They normally just wash it and ship it off.
Yeah, and the only person that touched it before you was Vince.
So I deconned it doing decon soap, followed with iron remover. Didn't really see any iron on the paint, which is pretty typical BMWs, and they're coming over on a boat, not a rail car. And then I auto scrubbed it. And to my surprise, the auto scrub really didn't mar much. And so I got lucky, and then I only had to do a single step, meaning that for those of you who are new to polishing, I was able to use one pad, one polish instead of going and doing multiple steps. I did a multiple pass, 4 or 5 pass perfect finish, which is a diminishing polish. So it starts as a 4 on a cut scale, 4 out of 6, and then ends as a 6 out of 6 on the finishing scale. And so I used a slightly more aggressive yellow pad, and so I made 5 or 6 passes on the whole thing. I can think on one hand how many imperfections there are on it, which is rare for a new car.
Sure.
You know, so this is the best BMW paint I've ever seen, and I've worked on a lot of BMWs. The least amount of orange peel, the least amount of defects. I don't think, my guess is the dealer did the same thing they do to most cars and mess it up, but for whatever reason, the hardness or softness or quality of the clear coat on this paint, I'm not making this up, I'd trash it if it wasn't any good. It's super legit. No rock chips on it. There is I can think of one little bug etch, which we'd probably have to spend a half an hour trying to find. There's a little etching somewhere here that didn't come out even with a heavier polish, but imperfection-wise, all the green stuff, super legit. There's a little piece of PPF here on the car, and so I used some, as I was wiping it down, I used some isopropyl alcohol, and it turned it cloudy, which happens sometimes to PPF. So it was cloudy from polishing. Some PPF,
I mean, I can't really notice it. Maybe I'll see it in the sun.
Yeah, you will. If you just looking at it, you can see it. Before you could barely see it, now you can see it. So this is one of those things that gets beat up. You pull it off and put a new one on.
Well, I'm glad you could tell a paint difference, because in 2019 I went to Munich. I took my parents, and they went into at the factory the changes they were making to the paint line, the quality of the cartridges, and how they can paint individual cars next to a black. They'll do like a black and then an orange and then a yellow, and they talked about that a lot, and I'm glad you could see it.
But I mean, you can look down the side of the car here, and if you go, look at my E92, like it is looks like a mountain range, which you know, orange peel is not the world's worst thing, because orange peel helps take your eye away from panel gaps, helps take your eye away from, even though BMW is very precise, there's still going to be waves in the metal. And so the orange peel is there for, well, one, the reason why we have it is because of, you know, VOC restrictions and water-based paints, and water-based doesn't lay flat like an oil-based or, you know, or solvent-based type paint does. And so, but it does serve a purpose, and then it helps you, you know, helps the car look uniform and not wavy.
Yeah. But back in the day, I mean, the way I would know a car was painted or a panel was painted is because that paint wasn't orange peeled.
Yeah.
Like good painters, they don't match the orange peel. Some do, and I'll request Brad, hey man, match the orange peel, so you can't tell. But you would see all orange peel and then a panel of nothing, or a panel of glass, and you're like, oh, that panel's been painted.
The car, I'm so pumped that, you know, BMW, the paint quality, you know, it's more Audi-like. You know, I've always thought, you know, Audi paint quality is to me has always been the best, the least amount of orange peel, the hardest, nicest quality. This is very Audi-like, very nice. So we coated, after I polished the whole thing, wiped it all down with isopropyl alcohol, coated it. After the first wash, the car always looks the best, because there's still dust and a little bit of polished dust and stuff in the jams and things like that. And so after your first wash, which you'll want to wait about a week, you know, to wash it, you know, keep it out of the rain if you can. But I did a single coat of G-Technic Crystal Serum Light, which is a ceramic coating, glass coating, whatever you want to call it. And then 2 coats of a topper, which is called XO version 4. And so it has 2 coats of that. So the XO helps with the water repellency, gives it a little more depth. But my favorite part is to do the old back of the hand. See, a lot of coatings are kind of sticky, tacky. The reason why I like this coating, it feels like you're putting a carnauba wax on the surface.
It has the Zymol feel.
Yeah, old school, old school. And we took the wheels off, deconned the wheels, did the same process of the wheels. My guess is you won't have these wheels for very long. You'll be in and out of them a lot.
Sure.
I did the same CSL EXO on the wheels. If you're tracking or if you're doing a lot of aggressive driving, this stuff we put on the surface is going to wear off in 4 or 5 months, maybe 9 months. But for your purposes, I think it's going to be, you know, it'll hold up for a couple of years. I also coated the calipers as well. You know, I've been testing whether it's worthwhile to coat the, you know, the fender wells, and it's kind of pointless, especially with all the sand and stuff in Florida. The second you drive it in the parking lot, it's kind of pointless. I didn't need to polish the glass. A lot of times we do, even on a new car, but the glass was super clean. The only reason I polish is just to deep clean it. So it all has 2 coats of Wolf's glass sealant. But the thing I like about Wolf's is that it doesn't fail. It just degrades. Like, remember Rain-X, it would go from shooting water past to like, I can't see anything, smear crazy. So notice, you know, I coated everything. So I coated wiper blades, wiper blade arms, the top of the wiper blades, keeps it looking nice. I did, under here I did a hybrid of, the cowl is coated with XO. This is treated, I did a dry wipe treating because I didn't really need to spray it down because it was clean enough, but I dry wiped it, meaning that I didn't, normally I'll do a wet application where the car's wet and then I spray on McGuire's Hyper Dressing diluted 4:1, but on this I just sprayed it on a towel 4:1 and just wiped it down. And so this,
I mean, it has a natural look, all the pieces, which is exactly what I want. Not shiny, but not dry.
No, I hate that shiny look. Yeah, so all this here, I just, you know, just did that. So that area is coated, which will last longer, and this area is just dressed. Because of the heat, and these engines run freaking insanely hot. So engine bay, pretty simple, and really there won't be any maintenance to it other than you just have to, to wipe my fingerprints off, but you'll have to once in a while just put some hyper dressing on it. So then the interior, so all I did was put something called leather shield. And so shield is something in this car like this, the amount of driving you're doing, you'll probably want to put it on once every 6 months. It's a simple wipe on and then flatten it out. And so this will help with dye transfer. So when you're getting in the car and you're, you know, like blue jeans or whatever, as you're sliding in and out, you're removing a little bit of that shield. But if you dump a cup of water on it, it's going to look like leather normally would instead of having some fancy coating. Nothing to treat. You don't want to treat Alcantara with anything. You just you'll have to clean it like once a year, and that you may never need to clean. Just vacuum it like normal. Other than that, they just clean the windshield. You don't want to use anything. I don't use anything on the windows. Just it's a secret formula for windows. Just keep them clean. You just beat the crap out of them with some invisible glass, and you have a bottle of it back there, a spray can of it, and you just keep the tint clean, and that's about all you need to do. There's like a little bit of different matte sheen that the leather shield gives it. But it doesn't add anything, it doesn't subtract anything other than just make it look the way it's supposed to look.
I mean, it looks brighter. I don't know if that's just me not seeing the car in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it looks cleaner. Even though it was clean, it just looks matte. I did all the door jambs. I did the jambs of the trunk. So all that's been coated as well, and so it'll be easier to keep clean and wipe up. I generally only do CSL, so it's just crystal serum light on the jambs. But like all this has been done, I do all the back sides here, just so it's easier to wipe off when you're doing it. All this leather, all the rubber trim has been coated as well, so that should hold up. Again, shadow line up here, so everything's been done. But really, it's a pretty simple process. I enjoy doing these kind of cars so much more than like I worked on an R33 with acid rain etching and big deep scratches and problems. This is my kind of detailing. You take something that's great and you make it as good as it can be, and then it'll be easier to wash, it'll be easier to maintain.
Yeah, it's about preservation of where it is.
Yeah.
Over time.
And you just maintain it, and you're going to get rock chips and you're going to get scratches, and everybody here is yelling at the screen, how come you're not going to PPF it? I'd rather have a few rock chips and a few scratches in the 20-year lifetime of it than have to deal with plastic all the time and dealing with, dirt and edges and stuff like that. And
I'm the same way. I mean, on the F82, we had it at the track, so I did the side skirts. I did some areas back here, like BMW did, just because of that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not a big proponent of that. I'd rather get it painted, and it's almost the same cost now.
I cleaned up the tires with notice of the nibs, no nibs on the tires. So we denibbed the tires, dressed the inside and outside of them, clean them with Stoner's Terminator. The key with tires is to prep them. And then you saw the dry ice thing. Eventually we'll just get rid of tire dressing altogether. It just costs you $100,000 from the machine in order to keep the dry look. But yeah, everybody, I think the dry look on tires is the way to go. That's what we're attempting to do with this dressing. But as soon as you put a dressing, you always get a little bit of a shine or sheen to it, no matter what you do. But
yeah, but it's my favorite after it's been washed like 1 or 2 times and it's like clean, but not shiny. That's the best.
So yeah, the car came out great. I think.
So what about the carbon on the back of the seats? Did you do the same?
I didn't do it. There's really nothing to do to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could coat it if you needed to, but I mean, there's really not any point to it.
Very well protected.
Yeah, I mean, and there I didn't notice any scratching or anything like that. So you could just put some coating on it if you want to, but again, I wouldn't. It's just the purpose of the coating is to keep water and chemicals where you're not going to be dumping buckets of water. It's not raining inside the car. So no. I don't think they need anything. I know that you could do, if you want to shine them, you could wax them, but even that,
it's shiny enough for me.
I think that maybe polish them in a couple of years.
So what's the verdict on the car, Matt? I mean, one of the reasons I wanted you to do it is so I got your opinion on this and what it means for BMW. I mean, to me, this is so much better than the F80 and F82. Not because that's the previous gen, but I've owned every M3, every model.
Yeah.
And sometimes they got better and better. The F80 was such a flat line to me. It's a great car, makes a lot of power. We built a ton of them at the shop, but I sold my car to Vince. I don't miss it one day. I miss my E92. I had that Firewall G92. I miss that car every day because of the sound and because of the feedback. The F80 to me, I don't miss it. But this car feels more raw to me. It feels more of a separation from the standard 3 Series.
I get the sense, or the feeling that this is like, this I think should be an M5. This to me is what an M5 I think should be. size-wise and feeling-wise. So I think of it more as an M5. I'd love to have it debadged and just pretend it's an M5. I do like the way it drives. I think a tune is going to help it a ton.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
there's that like your second gear, third gear, that kind of, as you're shifting through the gears, that weird lag that it has.
Yep.
Is it bull crap, or is there a first service they unlock the ECU thing?
I haven't had a definitive answer. I'll know this week because I have to take it in to get the 1,200-mile service.
They've said that about every M3 since the beginning of time, and I don't think
but
it's
you
ever
ask
been
7
true.
people and get 9 answers of what they actually do, and then BMW does that. Oh, we wrote up your ticket of everything we did, and it says completed 1,200-mile service.
Yeah.
Like, so there is no definitive answer.
Right.
Maybe someone that works for BMW could put in the comments exactly what's done.
So I like, I love the rear end. I mean, it's a little big, obviously. I like like the 3/4 view. I like in the car, this doesn't exist. Like the whole, the whole front, the headlights are fantastic. It doesn't sound good, but it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah.
There's going to be, you can hear a turbo spool. Like if you do like a 3rd gear bog, like bog, roll into a bog, it's really cool. You can hear the turbo
It's
whistle.
night and day better. It doesn't need corrective measures too. I mean, all BMWs need corrective measures because they have a crazy wheel gap. There's always things that need to be fixed. I don't think any car is perfect from BMW, but I don't think we need to do corrective, crazy noodle mid pipes to fix the sound, which to me is great.
And even then, it still has the even the F80 still has the overrun crack.
Does
they have to do to keep it in boost.
Yeah. This has it, and I think it's going to be more after they do the service. That again, we don't know exactly what's done, but I had the X3M and it was tuned. Kerry Jordan tuned it. It had downpipes, and it did. I had no burbles added.
Yeah.
But it had them, just naturally.
Yeah.
And this has less of them, but I think once the 1,200-mile service is done, once we change a little bit of things on the car, I think they will be more evident. But from BMW, they're great. They kind of add some character to it.
This is the first car that I thought that the valves were useful and intelligent. When you press the clutch in, the valves open. Yep. When you release the clutch, it's the first time in the history of ever that I thought, valves, that I was excited to have a valve. I got these companies reaching out to me at E92, we got this Valvetronic. Why would I want to add valves to a car that doesn't have it, doesn't need it?
Yeah.
I hate that. Just give me a consistent, non-droning
It's a
exhaust
sales
note.
gimmick. It's like the past 5 years have been every exhaust has a valve.
Right.
But yeah, this is just, BMW just thought more through every piece of it.
Yeah, the seats are fantastic. I mean, the seats are great. I mean, they kind of suck. They're hard. They're not hard to get out of. They're going to be hard to get out of and not mess up over time.
Well, I tend to look like a clown because I tend to get out of them eccentrically to not touch the bolster.
Well, I mean, like the GT3, the bolsters are a lot more aggressive, but there's a very specific path. These, the seat is, the barrel is rounded. Like the GT3 is boom and then flat. This is like a rounded little cup, and I found that there's no, man, they need some sort of bolster protection or something over time.
Yeah, the one thing I think that they need is an auto with the steering wheel. It needs to tilt auto. It's manual. Yeah. So when I get out, I put that up, and it's just a little bit of a lot of steps to process to get in and out. Which I'll take. I'll take the process every day and have these seats than having seats that should have been done like this. I'll take it every day. So I don't want to
It's so
complain
cool
about
that they give you that option, and I think most people probably won't opt for them, which will be a mistake.
Yeah, and the standard seats are great. They're the same seats that are in the X3M, but when you see these, this makes the car
special. Yeah,
I mean, I always change the seats anyway, and now I don't need to because now they match. Now they're carbon and they're light. And
this, I think, could be a longer-term, great family car, and then you can decide if you want to go crazy and try to figure out something with the front end if that bothers you.
Yeah.
But,
I think the F80 has its place. BMW made the F80 on the track to make this, so I'll take the F80 for that. I mean, skipping E92 to this, I don't think it's possible. There's just so many differences in it.
Yeah, but it is a lot more fun to drive. The thing I question is, I had a lot of fun driving the F80 when I first got it, and then about 6 weeks in,
Sure.
I was denying it, but eventually I realized that, and accepted the fact that it just wasn't alive. It was. So I wonder your long-term perspective if this is going to start to feel boring and numb over time. But because power to me doesn't really matter.
No.
This is going to make. This is going to make 600 at the wheel is pretty.
Yeah. Well, I think
easily.
the one change for me that'll be harder to let this go by the wayside is the manual. Because I don't think there's any car that has the technology that this has with
Right.
the dash, with a manual transmission. And
Yeah.
the thing with the F82 for me, I got a DCT, and it was great for the track, but it was boring. I could literally be on my phone, on the internet, going 100
Yeah.
simply, and it got boring. Like the car was boring to me.
Yeah.
But this doesn't really get boring because it's manual.
The steering is better on this. The
Yep.
wider, bigger. Even though it's wider, bigger, and heavier, it feels more alive. It feels more planted.
Yeah, and the seats help with that. I would say if you drove it back to back with a standard seat car,
Yeah.
you would really kind of write off the car more.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I won't be buying one in this model year, but maybe LCI, maybe late cycle, 4 or 5 years in, maybe I'll probably give in to the urge. It is a $100,000 car the way I spec it.
Sure.
So that does make a big difference. It's not a $50,000 pay cash M3 like they used to be, but it's a get yourself a 72-month loan and pay it off over time kind of car. And I wonder, I have a feeling that these are going to be more M5-like from a depreciation perspective, and that the new cars you're going to pay 85 to 105, and they're going to sell for 40 to 60
sure.
for a while, depending on how many they make of them.
They will. In about 3 years, they will.
And so,
But I think the colors make the car, and I think there
Yeah.
will always be a lot of grays still. I see a lot of people on the forums picking up their gray and black.
yep,
And then down the line, because this is a launch color, this will be like the Laguna Seca
yeah.
color of the G80. The launch color, not a lot of them around.
Yeah, like Yaz
Type-
Marina.
Yeah, exactly. Yas with the F80.
Or the yellow.
Melbourne on the E92. Melbourne was
Yeah.
Melbourne with that tan, which I hated that interior color, but Melbourne red is a neat color.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of E92s. We work on a ton of those cars at the shop, and we've probably worked on three Melbourne cars ever.
Work on it. This is the last of the Moreman. Sucker myself into the idea of because I'm probably 30-ish hours into making it look like this, and then after I was done, what did I say? I was like, it doesn't look any different. Looks the same. I could have just washed the thing and put some wax on it, and it would take me 3 hours to do it.
So that's a wrap inside. I want to put a big thank you out there to Matt at Obsessed Garage and his whole team. So this is the last car he's going to be detailing that he doesn't own. So I feel pretty honored for this to be the one. We're going to head back to the shop now. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications, as we'll be posting a lot more moving forward. Have a lot of really cool projects to post, and also some updates with the G80. So see you guys soon.